Hi, I'm Dawn Montefusco, Transformational Writing Coach, and this is the healing power of words. Create with passion and write powerful stories that have impact. And today we have one of my favorite people. I'm so excited that she's back, Norma Hollis. She's a transformational coach who writes programs for human development. Her most popular program focuses on authenticity and helps people gain self awareness and answer the question, who am I? Answering that question gives you more focus, clarity, and drive to achieve your goals, become a better writer, and inspire yourself. Hey, Norma.
Hey, Don, it's always good to be in your energy. Thanks for having me back again.
Same here. Same here. So, what's going on? What projects you working on? What's happening?
Well, I've always got something going on. So I'm still training speakers and certifying speakers, coaches, and facilitators to deliver my program. And the program, which is based on the grid you've seen behind me, is now completely online. I have an online school. I've taken all of my books and all of my information about becoming your authentic self and about
Wow.
self-awareness and finding your superpower and finding what really gets you through these interesting times we're going through right now. And I put them online as an online school at authenticityu.com. And so I'm just building it and developing it and getting it out there and letting people find how they can transform their lives and be the person they were born to be.
That is so cool. We'll have those links on this for sure. Wow. That's a big that's like scooping up all your stuff and saying, ta-da.
Well, it is, as a writer, I've had so much information to come through me and to just write it down and get it down.
Yeah,
And the question then becomes, in this information explosion age that we have, how do you really get your work out there? And so
right.
about 2 years ago, I spent several months just transferring everything I've written onto a school, onto classes, onto lessons. And it's just a great way to be able to share it without having to sell a book or it's just different. So there's a
Mm,
lot of different ways to write, a lot of
yeah,
different ways to help people. So this is how
totally.
I've taken my 9 books that I've written and just repurposed them in a different way to stay in line with what society's doing, where we're going, and how people are actually absorbing things. And people are absorbing through classes a lot rather than through books. So,
This is so fabulous. Well, when we talk about, well, first of all, these are some strange times. I mean, and I like to think of it as a big reset. I like to think of it as we have all this extra time. A lot of us do, not everyone
yes,
does.
yes,
Those of us that were working online anyway and doing things, we now maybe have a little extra, which is nice.
yes.
But it is a strange time in history. And I think that words matter more now than ever before. So tell us a little bit about the importance of really knowing yourself authentically in order to express yourself with words. Like what's like authentic words are different than just words.
Well, authentic words come from your heart. They don't come from
Hmm.
your head. When you're coming
Right.
from your head, you're coming scripted. You're coming from your
Mm,
heart, you're coming from what you know and what you feel, from your experiences, your passion, your expertise. And those things are really important now because the times we're in now, history is going to write tremendous things about these times from so many perspectives. Everything is shifting. Everything is changing. And who's going to win the change wars? That's kind of where we're at now.
yeah.
But the issue is that those of us that are writers, we kind of see things differently. We see things
Mm,
in ways that maybe others don't. And so our view, our perspective, the way we see things is going to be important 100 years from now when they talk about
right.
what happened during these times. I mean, what a fabulous time to be alive. And
Oh,
I
I
know in
know.
my generation, with my age, I've been with the 60s riots and now what's going on here and the coronavirus. It's like, my gosh, they can't stop it.
You said it best. I think, it is the best time. And I really believe this actually. I think it's the best time in all of human history to write is right now. You have an audience. I mean, this goes for books, social media, poetry, songs, writing to yourself, journaling about what's going on. I feel like that words right now, they said I just heard someone say, well, the word sword, if you move the letters around, become words.
Yeah.
right? So what's your sword? Which I was like, whoa, that's cool. Um, and so our words really also help us heal if we're
Yeah.
being authentic. And you've had some experiences you've talked about when you get people out of their head and into their heart and they speak from that place. You've mentioned you see healing not in just whom they might be speaking to, but their own personal healing. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, that actually has been my experience. I've had a lot of challenges in my life. The most recent and probably the most devastating in many ways was the murder of my husband. And he was murdered and decapitated.
I did
And
not know this. Hold on. I've known you a long time.
I
Whoa.
didn't tell you that.
No, you've told me a lot of stories. I'm so sorry. And wow.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was.
keep going. I want to hear this one.
Well, it was obviously a very challenging time. And as a writer, I'm also a speaker, and I do both speaking and writing from my heart. And I've healed because I've talked about the story. He was murdered in June of 2015, and the first time I spoke about it was December of that year. And that was, I mean, I couldn't make it through it without having some tears, of course. But that's part of the healing process. But the more I talked about it, which is why I can say it now and actually laugh and smile because I've healed from it.
Right.
It's something that happened. I understand it. I wrote about it. I experienced it, and I was okay really until for Christmas of that first year,
Mm,
and because I can always put something in a spiritual perspective, and I'm
yeah.
fine. But when Christmas Day came, it's like, wait a minute, something's missing here.
Oh, wow.
Then I really grieved, but I gave myself to March 31st, 3 months. 3 months you can grieve all you want, but then you have to come back into life. And so the gradual process of rebuilding and just healing from was a combination of writing, talking, speaking, sharing, and then eventually it healed. So writing words heal. Words are
Right.
swords, but words also are comfort.
Mm,
They hold you in their hands sometimes, and people sometimes need the words you have to share to help them through their words. I use words a lot mostly now with speakers because I
mhm.
coach speakers. I do events. The other thing I'm doing now is I do events where I feature 9 speakers that I've helped to help them tell their story.
Oh,
So,
fun.
and as they're telling their story in the process of working with them, I have them journal and I have them write about things. When I know them and things are happening in their life, well, write about it. That's always my first advice. Write about it. Write about it. You never know. Many of the things that I put in writing now and even speak about are things that I might have written 10, 20 years ago.
Hmm.
You never know when you're going to use what's important to you right now.
Totally. That's awesome. I do love the when we say healing power of words, I love that you are a speaker and that you've written books, but I love speaking too. I mean, I feel like the combination of getting the words written, but then when you get to tell the story, sometimes you're just surprised at what actually comes out of your mouth, right? Like you start putting things together that you wouldn't have put together a different way.
Right. Well, the difference of speaking and writing for me is the detail. So when you're writing a book, you're putting every a, on, and, the, at. When you're speaking, you're summarizing the message of where you're going in your presentation.
Mhm.
So you don't read a speech because when you're reading the speech, you're going to get caught up on where's the I just left when there's several of them on the paper. So it's much better to speak from your heart. You write from your heart, and then your head edits it. So it's the same thing with speaking. When you know your work, you don't have to edit it when you're speaking. You just speak from the heart. You just know where you're going next. You might know what your transitions are and what the message is you want to make with each thing you do. One of the things that I suggest people do, like you write an outline for a book, for speaking, I suggest you get an acronym of a word that you use. I use the
Oh,
word power a lot. So where P stands for purpose, O stands for being open, W is for using your wisdom, E is for your energy, and R is for rest and refuel. And I can apply that in almost any indication based on what my background is. My background is all of the different things you see behind me, the words you see behind me. So I can do that formula on the whole program or on any one of the parts of it. So what's your acronym word that you can use for
oh,
your
I love this.
episode?
I'm writing this down. This is so
You're
cool.
gonna write it down. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good to have one word that's a summary of your program. What I do most cases when I have enough time is I speak on the words behind me because that's my system. That's what I wrote.
Mhm.
That's what I know best. But I also have the other words that I can use. I could use the word power. You have another one, the word rapids, to help people become rapid speaking success. So,
Oh,
what are
cool.
your acronyms? And that way you can speak wherever you go.
That's awesome. I love it. Words are so phenomenal. I'm curious about when you say write it down, like when you said someone's going through something, write it down, write it down. What, when did you start writing it down?
Well, I never have really journaled the way most people do. My journaling is more the development of my program. It's not so much what I feel emotionally.
Mhm.
I do have journals that I've started, but I never can stay with them. So what I do more for my emotional stuff is write affirmations, write and use affirmations. So, but so my journey and what I write generally is I have so many thoughts that come to me. Even came to write what you see behind me, and to write my classes that are in my school, and to write the programs. I'm doing a program back tomorrow, in fact, and I'll be doing programs on the authenticity and introducing speakers all the time. So when the ideas come, I just jot them down. And I keep my orange notebooks and
Yep.
I always date them so I can go back and find things. And I generally do one notebook at a time. Right now I think I'm in three, which is unusual, but I got a lot going on right now. But that's how I generally journal. I grow with my emotional pieces and adjust them in my life accordingly. But my purpose on the planet is not my emotional development, although that's a part of it, but it's getting the program that I've written out in the world. And so I'm clear on what my objective is. So the things that I do are geared towards the goal that I want to reach before I leave the planet. So that's what I mean by writing. Writing should be something that leads you to where you want to go.
I love that. I love
And
it.
if you don't know where you want to go, then just write the emotions, and then when you go back and read them, they'll tell you where you want to go that you couldn't
Yeah.
before.
I love what you said about the purpose before you leave the planet. That's actually ever since I turned 50, 51 now. And both of us look ridiculously young, by the way, because I remember you said something like you might be 70.
71 now.
Yeah, I see. That's just I thought you were like 60 at best, you know?
And a
So
half, and a half.
that just totally freaks me out. I love it. But I did notice that when I turned 50, like in the last year, I was like, oh yeah. So now I've accumulated this knowledge base, systems that work, help people out of resistance and right. And I thought, oh, okay, I get it. There's this purpose that I have, and I want to make sure it gets out there before I leave the planet so that other people, hopefully, I can help people through some of the struggles I've been through and getting them. So I really love the way you said that because I think that a lot of writers forget that there is a purpose, there is a reason that they want to write, that we're
Yeah,
given these callings specifically for a reason. And without following through with them, we sort of I mean, it just doesn't feel very good. You know, we have those I don't know, I always say, the acorn has everything it has in it to be an oak tree. And so if you really want to write, if you feel this desire or speak, that that is something that has to happen because God put that in you. I don't believe in a creator that would give us the desire to do something and not be successful in doing it.
yeah.
There's just that. But I gotta ask you a silly question. Is the orange notebooks, are they all the same kind of orange notebooks?
Depends on where I buy them and where I can find them. Different ones. Sometimes I can find, sometimes I can't. But when I find them, I usually buy more than one.
What
I
is it
don't
with
care if it's got
orange? I
flowers,
love
if it's plain, whatever. But it's generally orange. That's what orange is my branding color. I always wear orange.
I love it. I did not know that either. I mean, I know it
Didn't
on
know
your
that?
site. Yeah, no, I've seen orange, but I didn't realize you even to the level of your journal, which is rad. Um, Writers always ask these silly questions like, what time of day do what pen do you use and what journal do you use? So I thought I would have a good time with that with you. So we've got orange journals, and I agree with you. My journals go from like attempting to write about my emotions to usually goes right into my brainstorming ideas about work or what's the next thing, asking God, what's coming. Um, so what is your writing style? Do you have when you're on a mission to finish something, uh, even if it's a program or whether it's a book, do you like Is it a morning thing, an all day thing? Do you chunk it out? What's your style of finishing when you're using your words for a specific project?
Well, I guess I do have a process, and the first is well, you can see it in my program. It's think, communicate, do. So
Mm,
that's kind of what I do. So my think time is when I figure out I'm thinking about what it is that I'm doing and what my objective is, and I usually do that in times when I'm quiet, when I take a walk. I may think about it before I go to bed at night, so I'll have an answer in the morning. I may think about it while I'm washing the dishes, while I'm being quiet, or while I hook rugs. I like to make rugs. That's my hobby. So when I'm doing those kind of things, I'm in contemplation about what I'm doing, where it's going, what it's going to compose of, what the constructs are, etc. And then I get to the communicate part, usually, which is when I in the morning when I wake up, and that's when I'll write down what the thoughts are. And sometimes I send a text to myself all the time when I have great ideas that I can't write down,
great idea.
and they're there when I need them. Yes, yeah. So I do that a lot. But I'm a morning person. I'm generally start no later than 9, and if I have something that I really need to get done, I might start at 7 in the morning. I get a lot done in the morning.
Cool.
Sometimes I walk first, and that allows me to get my plan together. But I always have a plan of action. I usually write until about 2 o'clock because then I find myself just the energy shifts.
Mm,
I'm a firm believer of flowing with my energy.
mm.
So when it comes to making phone calls or doing the dreaded administrative work or
I know.
stuff like that, the things that are required, but are not really in my skill set that I really don't want to do, or reaching out to find some support services. I use a lot of fiber people, so things like that I'll do after 2, and then by 5, by 6, I'm good. I quit, or sometimes I may go to 7 or 8 if I have a project I need to get done. I need to put more energy, but I really do focus a lot now on giving myself time. I used to do a lot work all the time and do little self care, and I've also got to the point now where I stop on Fridays and don't get back to it until Monday, unless I
Good.
have a lot that I have to do. But it was a 7 day a week assignment, if you will, that I took very seriously. But I'm lighting up on myself a little bit now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a lot
I
nicer.
think entrepreneurs, we go through phases. I know for me, I'm okay. I mean, I'm good for, I'll do like 3 10-hour days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just because I'm on a roll, and I'll get into it. And then I had to slowly learn to like back it up because I might accidentally keep going. Uh, and now I definitely take Sundays off no matter what. um Fridays are, I try to like wind it down about a half day, and then the very last week of the month I try to schedule it so that I'm not on calls, and then I'm mostly just planning and writing and trying to figure things out. I've learned over time not burning out, but as entrepreneurs we get such a kick out of like that project,
Creating
driven.
something, yes.
Yeah, we want to get, oh, I got an idea, let's get it done. So I think that we're all wacky. And I think from what I've read, we are. I guess there's something like 5% of people who start businesses actually succeed. It's something really low, like maybe it's 15%, 5 to 15%. But one of the major reasons is that regardless of the odds or regardless of what they're told, they don't believe it because they just want what they want. They have the vision. They're like, well, nothing's going to get, I don't care if it takes 20 years, I'll get there somehow. So I just love that about you because I've seen you evolve just in the last 3 years with the
Yeah.
school, and you were in China. I mean, you've just done so much. And I just believe your work is so important right now for everyone in terms of these. It is a healing time. It's a crazy time. But I think with the chaos and with the words, we're looking at connection, right?
Yes. Yes.
So words are a wonderful way to offer connection. And I'm thinking of like empathy, like a way to really stay in that conversation of I'm here with you. But I want to ask you one question. I like what you said about how now you can smile about it. How do you know when someone's not quite ready to even write or talk about something that they're eventually going to be able to talk about or write about. Maybe they're so in it. Um, if they're in that premature stage, I think writing is probably easier than talking about it. I don't know. I'm just wondering. I know there's a lot of work out there that it talks about how expressive writing is very healing. How do you know when you work with someone they're really ready to talk about a difficult time in their life? Like, how do people prepare for that?
Well, there's so many different ways and different levels of that, and some people show their scars more readily than others. I'm thinking of a couple of my clients. One who is 65 right now and was born with a physical defect that still bothers her. So my coaching, and when I work with people that are speakers, I also work with their inner self because it's all connected, and helping her heal from that part. So I'm giving her opportunities to speak, and I watch her speaking and listen to her speak. But what I also do is I work on feeling her. I'm able to feel people in some ways. Coaches oftentimes can do that and help her to feel rather than think. Like she would always say, I got to write my speech. No, you have to prepare your speech. It's a difference. And
Wow.
prepare is using more than just your writing skills because the speech is more than just writing. So when you feel your speech, it's much better. I have another client that's been with me about 10 years, and she's a real slight woman. And when she first came to me, it's like, I want to be a speaker. And, and now she's really speaking. I mean, every time I look up, she just amazes me. But I've since learned that there was a lot of healing she had to do from some stuff from years ago. And it took her time. And so just by working with her and hearing her speak more and more, and she even wrote, she even is even a writer. She's become a writer. But just the gentle nudge, the gentle encouragement. It's an encouragement as well as helping people find out what their gifts are. I encourage people to write or speak about their experience, their expertise, and or their passion. And it should be
Nice.
something they're passionate about because then you're going to put your love into it, you're going to put your feelings into it. But based on your experiences, were you a single mother? Were you raped sometime? Were you uh, picked up by the Portland police sometime? Or what happened to you? What was your experience or what's your expertise? What have you done for so long that you're an expert in it right now? So
Mm.
that's really where your stories come from. So, and they come with passion, either something that you just love or something you can't stand. Either way, it's a passion. So, and now is the perfect time to write about your passion. This we're going through with the coronavirus, people are dying, people getting sick, people being uncertain, racial injustice, and now we've got the issue of women with the congresswoman that was disrespected recently. So that's probably going to grow into something. That's just getting started at the time that we're talking. So you just never know. But all of these things elicit emotion. There's a feeling in all of us in one way or another, and that's why there's so many protests right now. So write about it. Whatever your perspective is, somebody else is feeling that and needs to hear what you have to say. And then don't be afraid to speak about it because writing is speaking just in a different format. It's words in different format. And if you write, I believe you should speak as well. You reach more people that way, and they get the chance to feel your passion, and that
I agree.
inspires them to do something.
Absolutely, I agree with that second part totally. Like once you write about it, definitely speak about it and practice. And one thing I love that you said, and I think everyone should hear this, is when you said prepare first. I think that right now we are in unprecedented times. And so this off the cuff reactionary things that are out there, when I start to put up something on social media, I am taking responsibility. I'm like, and sometimes I say things that are pretty edgy, but they're my truth, especially with the protests in Portland. I've been saying, for those of you in the other parts of the country, you don't know, there's been no violence with the protesters at all. We're getting to know that now. And then I said, don't forget the story of David and Goliath. Watch out, world. I thought about that. I didn't just spew off about how pissed off I was about this or that. And I didn't really think much of it. And I woke up in the morning and I had like, a bunch of shares, and someone's like, I love the analogy. And I thought, I'm glad that I took a minute. And so that's been my oath to myself, is to really, even in my own, I mean, I can say whatever I want in my journals, but even in my journals, like, back up a second. What am I preparing for? What am I really wanting to say here? And I think that preparing before we speak, before we write, now is a really important time, because we're sort of serving the world through example. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And so we need to be the examples. I remember reading one day that God was a writer. He wrote the Bible, right?
Right.
So at least, because he, just like he puts words through us, many of us, are receiving words, that we don't just make up the words, they come to us from some energy out there somewhere. So where is that? What is that? So if it's coming through us from an energy somewhere, that's a powerful energy who's probably instructing us to pass those words along.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. And that's the biggest challenges we have as creative people, is the marketing side, because
Mm.
nothing really happens unless you market well. So that's really can be a challenge. And having a book is great, but if you don't market the book, no one reads it. So just like being a speaker is great, but if no one hears you, what good is it? So it's really important to know how to market yourself and how to make that work. It's more than a notion, but you have to get started.
Yes. You Hold on, we're going to pause right here. Do you know what your free gift is?
My free gift is a class on authenticity you.
Cool. Perfect. Okay. Hold on one second. You have an amazing free gift for us as well.
Yes, I do. I would like everyone to check out my school, authenticityu.com. And
Excellent.
when you get to the school, there's a free gift. If you scroll down on the homepage, it says "Start Here," and that will take you to take my authenticity assessment. It's an assessment of the 9 dimensions you see behind me on the authenticity grid. And then when you finish that, you will get a chance to understand your scores with a free gift, a second gift that is an expanded report to help you understand the different scores you have. And then if you'd like to go further in your development, you can do that, but you will at least have that foundation to give you a look at your authenticity. Because one of the strengths of writers is when you write as your authentic self and not as someone else, but truly true to your heart and to your true experiences, your expertise, and true to your passion. And that comes from really knowing who you are. You make better decisions that way, and life just flows a lot better than it does when you're walking confusion. And with today's society confusing many of us, this is a great way to help you move your way out of that and expand your writing.
Amen to that. That was a good monologue right there. Everybody, go to her website. Everything is here on this page. Uh, I can't say enough about how great it is to speak with you all the time. And
Always.
again, any writers out there, you want to get to scene, you want to learn more about authenticity, you find Norma, you work with her. She's the expert, international expert speaker. And I can't thank you enough. And hopefully 2020 turns out to be it's already an amazing year of change and shifts. And let's see what else happens.
Dawn, I want to offer your guests one more opportunity if they'd like to have a 30-minute one-on-one with me. They can
Oh,
go
that's
to
great.
they can go to meetwithnorma.com, meetwithnorma.com. I know
I'll
you'll
put
have
that
it
on the page too. Everyone, wow, it's raining right now. It's awesome stuff. Meetwithnorma.com. Get your 30 minutes in. Meet with Norma. She'll help you with your authenticity, speaking, all kinds of good stuff.
on. Yes.
Thank you so much, Norma.
Thank you, Dawn. It's always good. I look forward to the next round.
Yeah, and when COVID's over, we'll do something in person, I swear.
Yeah, you just keep it going. Keep going and doing what you're doing. It's wonderful.
Okay. Bye.